Hey mamas, one of the biggest stumbling blocks in divorce and life is lack of effective communication. And I'm here to tell you that divorce has its own language. How often have you found yourself in an endless loop, texting back and forth, emailing, maybe even yelling or unleashing regrettable words, and ultimately getting nowhere? You're not alone. But that's a lot of wasted time, energy, and life force. Besides, it adds to the pollution, not the solution. And who needs more to clean up? There are a lot of reasons that we get caught up. Unhealed wounds, unsaid words, unfinished business. Lack of healthy communication is the root of dysfunction. And by the way, divorce communication goes on long after the ink dries on your decree, particularly if you're co-parenting and navigating with a high conflict individual. But when you learn to communicate consciously, clearly, and effectively, and you are in alignment with your intuition and integrity and pay attention to your nervous system, the rules of engagement change. You change. Everything changes. It's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm calling this conversation, Do You Speak Divorce? Hi there, mamas. Welcome to the Intuitive Divorce Podcast. I'm Kristen Noel, certified divorce coach and creator of the Best Self Intuitive Divorce, a game-changing program that transforms the experience and outcomes of divorce, one mother at a time. I call it Divorcing Differently. I'm here each week bringing you a quick message to support, inspire, and empower you to achieve the outcomes you want for yourself and your kids. So let's dive into today's episode. Does speaking to your ex or soon-to-be ex feel like you're navigating a foreign country without a map or translator? Does figuring out what to say to your moody teenager have you feeling like you're walking on eggshells all the time? Does getting the divorce process started or communicating with the various professionals on your team have your head spinning? Does explaining yourself to friends and family have you wanting to hide beneath the covers? You're not alone, mama. It occurred to me during a recent group coaching class that for most of us, when we divorce, we need to speak a new language and find a new voice. Not knowing how to speak is probably a big reason why you're here in the first place. And with any new endeavor, there's a learning curve to navigate, and it may be bumpy at first. You know, we may initially say a few words incorrectly and stumble a bit, but eventually something suddenly clicks and makes sense. Practice makes perfect. Showing up to learn to communicate differently is a game changer. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, when you learn to communicate consciously, clearly, and effectively, the rules of engagement change. You change. Your peace and well-being changes. Your interactions change. Your divorce changes. And you never go back. You create capacity to advocate for yourself. You disengage from dysfunction much quicker. You walk away. You let others to their own devices to feel, react, and process how they need to. You detach from the outcomes you can't control. This doesn't only apply to divorce. It applies to everything. How you engage with your kids, your family, your friends, coworkers, community, your ex, and best of all, yourself. Yep, that's probably the most important dialogue you're going to have. Our old habits fit like gloves, and when we get triggered, upset, or feel off our game for any reason, far too often, we fall back into our old default settings. What are you saying to yourself? What old patterns are you repeating? What limited thinking are you allowing to get in your way? No matter where you are, no matter how you've navigated up until this point, no matter what you told yourself, know one thing. It can change the moment you decide to change it. The moment you decide that this current way of communicating just isn't cutting it, and every cell in your body is alerting you to this. Recognize how these encounters feel in your body. Connect to your nervous system. What does it need when triggered? What does it need to avoid being triggered? That's it. It starts there. As I always say, when we shift, the world shifts with us. Recently, a client shared an interaction with me about getting caught up in an old trap with family members. I reminded her to lean on her own tools and intuition, to ask herself if this is hers to control or change. If not, walk away from the conflict. She said something about it being a gray area. Nope, I wasn't going to let that one fly. I responded by telling her, there is no gray area here. It's either yours to control or it isn't. It's either yours to fix or it isn't. It's either yours to change or it isn't. It's either yours or it isn't. When you feel sucked in, say this out loud so you hear it. Back it up. This isn't yours. Bottom line, if you don't, you're setting yourself up for a fall. You'll just get sucked back into an old familiar drama, frustrated and angry with yourself. Communication between family members and partners is like an unconscious contract. You play this role, they play that one, and everyone carries on business as usual until someone says, no more. Did you ever consider that your desire to learn a new language is precisely the reason that you're getting divorced? Your life, desires, and needs were likely lost in translation along the way. It's also an indicator that healing is underfoot and you are ready for change. The incredible part of this, as I mentioned before, is that you can change this instantly. Let me back up a moment and share a few examples that I witnessed in real time this week with clients. One mama shared a text thread that went on and on and on with her ex about a single, not particularly important issue. Now, I know everything feels like it's important, but let's just say that we can easily get unnecessarily caught in the weeds with our exes. The slightest tone or comment can set us off, and the endless thread you have to scroll through for 10 minutes ensues, and no one wins or accomplishes anything productive. How do we get out of the weeds? You step out of that dialogue. You breathe, you regroup, and you consciously choose what you are giving your energy to. You get clear about what you want to say, what you don't want to say. You get abundantly clear about what your objective is. Is it realistic? Is this person capable of giving this to you? Have they ever given it to you before? If the answer is no to any of the above, why are you wasting your energy and giving your power away? This isn't about giving in, forfeiting, or giving up. It's about walking away from dysfunction, and there is great power to be found there. Back to the endless text thread. I simply advised this mama to stop. I asked her how important this issue, that was going nowhere, was to her. Then I asked her what it would feel like to simply focus on what had worked in their recent communication regarding their son. What if instead of only focusing on this, you simply wrote back later and said, hey, I think we did a great job with ... fill in your own blank. Now, I know that may make you cringe or feel like you're being weak or giving in when you'd much rather punch something, but just bear with me. She sent the congenial text, and guess what ensued? The angry theatrics ceased, and she got a similar text back. Boom. I'm not saying that the congenial communication solves all problems, but it definitely interrupts the regularly scheduled program and sets a new tone. I'm not suggesting that she should blindly trust him or that she shouldn't continue to be as involved as she chooses to be. I'm suggesting she get clear about how she goes about it and what her ultimate goal is. Besides, this is going to feel so much better to her nervous system. And let's not forget, if mama's happy, grounded, and feeling calm, that's the energy of the house. Sometimes, actually most of the times, we are best served by stepping away from the dance floor with an ex. We benefit from speaking a new language and then teaching it to them. When we walk off the stage of a dramatic production, guess what? The show stops. Think about that for a moment. When we continue to engage, we only hurt ourselves. We get upset. We drain our mojo. We get nowhere. We hurt our kids because they're right there witnessing it all. Another mama was fighting back and forth with her ex. Endless meetings, emails, texts, calls, and mounting lawyers' bills over one issue. And guess who was caught in the middle? Their small child. This issue was a sticking point, and it had this mother frightened about what would happen if it didn't go her way. But she stayed the course and learned a new language. In a firm, yet respectful manner, she held her ground, but really developed inclusive language skills, saying things like, "Hey, I know we both have our kids' best interest at heart." Those kinds of words are immediately disarming. They feel more like an invitation than a reprimand. And like it or not, co-parenting requires collaboration. This is a subtle yet profound shift in communication. It wasn't easy at first, but guess what? She ultimately got what she wanted, and she saved herself a lot of emotional grief and unraveling in the process. You don't have to buy into anyone's story or compromise your values or feel like a doormat to be collaborative. Instead, you can keep your eye on the ultimate prize, divorce differently, and speak a new language. Parlez-vous divorce? Is it time to learn a new language, Mama? Thanks for listening to today's episode, but more importantly, for making this time for yourself. If you're a professional, independent mother facing off with divorce, struggling with your emotions, worried about your kids and your future, and want a better way to navigate it all, I've got 2 ways to completely change the trajectory of your divorce and your life starting today. The first is our free divorce workshop. In this training, you'll learn the 3 steps to get off the emotional roller coaster and take control of your divorce so you can save time, money, and heartache for you and your family. Simply go to intuitivedivorce.com/workshop. And the second way is to book a free strategy call with our team, where we'll dive into your situation, your struggles, what you really want, and outline a path to get you there. For a short video and the booking link, go to intuitivedivorce.com/call. Check it out, and I'll see you inside. Now I have a favor to ask you, Mama. If you enjoyed this conversation and were inspired in your own divorce, please subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss future juicy talks. And I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review so together we can help other mamas walking in the same shoes.